Hello, namaskar, sat sri akal, adab, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, viewers to all the viewers of the Light Crimes Illegal channel. I welcome you on the stream today. Myself, Dhruva, I am once again back here to help Diptiji channelize this show and host this show. Guys, please give me a thumbs up if I'm audible, if you people are able to listen to me. I'm pretty much sure that this was not the voice you were waiting for, or this was not the person you wanted to see on the channel now. You just wanted to, like, I understand the fantastic exposes or the words of truth which Sushant had put it down in the form of us encrypted drives, which Deeptiji brought it out to the public with by giving it the name of SSR Diaries and the impact of the awakening it is doing to the common public. So I'm not the right person to be talking over here, but the time for this show was scheduled at 7:30 p.m. IST. Due to some unforeseen reasons, due to some unavoidable reasons, Deepti ji might be late by 2-3 minutes. So I'm just here to, like, maybe channelize the stream and make sure that we are here on time so that everyone is actually following us. So I'm not sure if my voice is audible or not. Uh, Good evening, Yamini ji. Dipti ji should be here any moment. Hi, Mitrasis. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for your support. You are one awesome individual who's promoting the channel as well. And yes, people, a humble request with both hands folded is if you find that this channel is making sense, if you find that this channel is speaking the word of truth or this channel is promoting the word of truth, I request you people kindly subscribe to the channel, like the content, and share the content. We are all here for one sole reason. We are all here to ensure that we are here on the path of truth, and we are all here as warriors to stand for the cause of truth. What happened on 14th of June was something which the entire world knew that it was that crime, maybe, which the elites conducted, hoping that the people will not react, or as it has been the trend since a long time, people might have thought this is something where like it would be silent for a long time. So by the grace of God, I don't need to be continuing harping anymore because Diptiji is already here. Diptiji is already here without wasting any much more time from your people, because I don't know what I should be speaking today. This was a session wherein Diptiji would cover up the drives for the day. Let
Am I clear?
me hand over the screen.
Ex- Yeah, Dhruva, am I audible?
You're fine. You're fine. You're like it's audible. I was just finishing up on a thought. Please let me finish that. Then I'll answer your question. I
Sure.
unfortunately have become a one-track mind these days. So basically, like the madam is here who's going to do a lot of. Let me tell you, it was nothing less to be a now scintillating incident today, because the content of the drives that's going to be read today probably goes down as the most controversial chapter in the history of Indian politics. Yes, today, Deepti in her own sweet voice, is going to read what happened in Godra and the happenings around it. So, Deepti I'm sorry, I must have blabbered a lot. You gave me a last minute shock telling that you'll be late by 3-4 minutes. Over to you. When I am
Okay.
speaking, when the show started, the view account was 21. They saw this voice and the count came down to 4. It is already 10 now. Without wasting much of the viewers' time, let me give the center stage to you. All the best. And
Thank
viewers,
you.
today the session is going to be worth it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dhruvaji. Thank you so much for holding the stage. Uh, I got late. I'm sorry to my viewers. I just want to give a small message in Hindi. मैं हिंदी जो लोग चाहते हैं कि मैं हिंदी में शोज करूं उनके लिए एक छोटा सा मैसेज देना चाहती हूँ. ये नहीं है कि मैं इंग्लिश में ज़्यादा कंफर्टेबल हूँ बोल के मैं इंग्लिश मैं सेशंस रीड करती हूँ क्योंकि सुशांत ने इनको इंग्लिश में ही लिखा है तो मेरा काम कम पड़ता है. तो जब काम ज़्यादा होता है तो हिंदी का अनुवाद करके फिर हिंदी में बोलना उसके लिए थोड़ा टाइम लग रहा है. थोड़ा पेशेंस रखिए. हम हिंदी में भी इसको वी विल कंटिन्यू हम लोग शोज करेंगे. थोड़ा वक्त लग रहा है, बाकी काम कुछ ज़्यादा है, क्योंकि जैसे जैसे हम लोग ड्राइव्स डिकोड कर रहे हैं, एज एंड हाउ we are decoding the drives. And as Dhruvaji said that today we will be covering some sensational exposures. So, and
No, Deepti, before you start here for a quick moment, let me put it across in the way people will understand. See, one thing what we need to appreciate and salute Sushant is his mindset. He could have easily written it out in Hindi, being his, what you say, mother tongue. Ajay Devgan, the capital letter C's of Bollywood have created a controversy that national language and regional language, etc., etc., when they themselves are coming down south and dubbing movies of south and getting their bread and butter. Sushant himself had clearly mentioned that I could have easily written it in Hindi, but if someone who doesn't understand Hindi gets to lay his hands on this, that's the reason I'm writing it in English, because English is accepted as a universal language.
no,
Most
no,
of the
and
people.
also, Dhruvaji, I would like to correct it here. सुशांत गेव द रीजन, सुशांत ने जो कारण दिया है कि उन्होंने अंग्रेजी में क्यों लिखा है, उनका कहना है कि अगर कोई ये ड्राइव्स डिकोड कर पाता है तो उसको कंप्यूटर नॉलेज आता है, और उसको कंप्यूटर नॉलेज आता है तो बेसिक इंग्लिश आता ही होगा, ठीक है। तो लॉजिक ऑफ सुशांत वाज, एज ही सेड, द रीजन ही रोट दिस इन इंग्लिश इज बिकॉज only with a person who has basic English knowledge will be able to decode the drives, because of the encryption that he has given, the passwords that he has set, and a lot many things are there. So to be on the safer side, because Sushant के हिसाब से उन्होंने जिस तरह का encryption set किया है, the kind of encryption he has given to the drives, that can only be solved by a person who should be knowing English as well. Hindi, not everyone knows Hindi. If it had if these drives had gone into the hands of someone from, say, from South, from Tamil, or someone who doesn't know Hindi, though that person might be technically genius, then it wouldn't have solved any purpose. So that's the reason उन्होंने अंग्रेजी में लिखा, and there's, और इसलिए हम लोग इसको अंग्रेजी में पढ़ रहे हैं क्योंकि ये थोड़ा कम समय लग रहा है, ये डिकोड करना ही बहुत बड़ी बात है. आई मीन इट टेक्स, वो बहुत समय लेता है, it takes a lot of time to decode them. And translating them into Hindi, actually we are falling short of time, but I promise you people, मैं आपसे वादा करती हूँ कि हिंदी अनुवाद सारे जितने भी सेशंस इंग्लिश में किए हैं, उन सब का हम लोग हिंदी ट्रांसलेशन लाएंगे, छोटे छोटे सेशंस लाएंगे हाफ एन आवर के. बट प्लीज थोड़ा पेशेंस, थोड़ा सब्र कीजिए, हम हिंदी में फिर से शुरुआत जल्दी करेंगे. एंड नाउ ओवर टू द इंग्लिश व्यूअर्स. Without, hello Brindaji, hi Mitraji. I am very bad at reading the chat section and addressing the viewers, because I am a one-track mind as well. So when I read, I just read. I can't look at the screen. I get deviated. So please don't take it to heart if I'm not addressing all of you personally. I'm not good at hosting, and I don't have a sweet voice, as Dhruvaji said, because people talking to me for the first time on the phone, they're not able to guess whether it's a male or a female. So I know how bad my voice is. But okay, let's go ahead with what we have, limited resources we have. The only plus point we have is that we have truth in our hands. Hello, Maimunji. How am I? बहुत pressure. There is a lot of pressure. Pressure is increasing day by day. Threats are coming, and abusive languages are being used. Mind games are being played. Indecent proposals are being given. Efforts are being made to trap me, but I cannot take their names because they are so clever and they use indirect means of communication. And now, since I have a case in court, and the cabal is waiting for me to take one wrong step so that they can either book me into false case, because I have already had income tax raid on me, and there have been many attempts to trap me in illegal deals involving money laundering and all that. I'm not going to take any names now, but if it comes to the worst situation where I fear for my life, then definitely I will leave everything as Sushant has left for everyone to read. from there, it's up to you people how you want to address this sad and pathetic situation that we are in. Okay. So without wasting much time, let me just go ahead and start from where I left. Today we have session 46 of Sushant's Drives reading. All right. So over to Sushant. Before we continue further with the topic on hand, the points that I want to raise here are: it is proved again over and over and over
Deepti
again.
ji, Deepti ji, before you start reading, just for a moment over here, I had to make two important points. Number one, there was a Type C scheduled
Your
attack
voice is
that just
breaking.
happened on
Your voice
yesterday.
is.
Yeah. Am I audible now?
Yes.
Okay. There was a Type C scheduled attack that happened just now. So I request you to keep your mic mute for 20 seconds so that you yourself are a master at it. But because today unfortunately आपने क्या बोलते हैं बंदर के हाथ में हीरा दे दिया है तो बंदर हीरा पकड़ के उछल रहा है थोड़ा तो बस 20 सेकंड्स के लिए अपना माइक म्यूट कीजिए मैं थोड़ा बड़बड़ कर लेता हूँ तब तक Okay, guys, on this platform itself, let me tell Deepti ji on her face, she is the warrior of truth, and the truth is standing with her. So nothing is going to happen to her because we cannot afford fighting another justice for Sushant, and at least I am not the person who will be reading her diaries. Back to you, ma'am.
Okay. So now over to Sushant. I will start again. Before we continue further with the topic on hand, the points that I want to raise here are: it is proved again over and over and over again that it is the same bunch of people who are spoiling our society. All our leaders are almost the same. For now, some exceptions are there, but my meeting with Modi ji will clear all my doubts on anything otherwise. It is just the game of power. Divya Bharti, Parveen Bhabhi, Pramod Mahajan, Ravinder Patil, and some more lost their life because they wanted to expose something or the other, which could blow these people apart. Press is in their hands, within brackets, newspapers. Media is in their hands, within brackets, news channels. They have IT cells, within brackets, social media. They have money, they have manpower, but the one thing that they lack is conscience. I have it in me. I have a very strong conscience that pricks me when I am doing something wrong. And this is the biggest asset any human being can have, as it is very easy for us to give in to pressures of different kinds. But it is very, very difficult to arrive at a conclusion. Unless you have a strong conscience and know exactly what you are doing, it might look easy, but it is not that easy. The biggest comparison between right and wrong is that if you are right, you will have a lot of challenges to face, a lot of criticism, and a lot of people will pick on you. And above all, there will be a constant war happening everywhere around you. But then you will have peace of mind. If you are wrong, you will not have any pressure or tension on your head, but your heart and mind will be at constant war in between them. And that will make it even the more difficult for you to pass your days. Because no matter whatever you say or anyone says, your nights will be sleepless. The tension itself is enough for you to make a mess out of it for yourself. But the sad thing here is that all this is not visible to the society. But yes, in the longer run, the suffering is on your side. The person went further. The relation between Swami and Rajiv was that of a political well wisher for each other. As I had discussed earlier, the ways in which both of them shared a relation and also the link that I had shared earlier It was noted for more than one instance that the friendship between the both was so well that even if Swami was speaking against Indira Gandhi or the way he took on the Congress, but the duo had long conversations and also met far from the public eye and discussed a lot of strategies. There have been instances when the two were spotted, but no one really spoke about it. And yes, there have also been instances wherein Swamiji has immediately changed his statements, which threw the entire audience to some kind of a shock. According to the points that Mahajanji was working on, both were strong negotiators and ultimate opportunists, and hence it was very difficult to guess what the both of them were up to, as both of them were very, very wise when it came to their public appearances, but watched each other's back from behind the scenes. There were a lot of controversies that had happened around this time, and this was the partnership that helped none of them make it to the news. One of them was National Herald and the happenings with this. We all know how things are shaping up now. But a lot of scams that happened during this time was brushed down the carpet. And the matters never made news, as the duo were working in tandem, is the conclusion that a lot of people made. The next issue that was yet another incident wherein all of the people connected to the political circles back then stood in unity. And the matter really went nowhere was the Hashimpura massacre, when 42 Muslim youth were shot dead. It was one of those incidents of cruelty and cold blooded homicide, which was not handled the way it should have been handled. The reasons for this are there was no proper reporting on the incident, the investigation work was sloppy, there were a lot of warrants that were issued but to no avail. The officers who surrendered to the court when they got bail got back to their duties. No political party took the matter up. The families of the people who were killed were kept in isolation, and also a lot of pressure was put on them. The case took all the while in the world to see the court. Once it saw the court too, the proceedings that happened in the court are a huge question mark. Though this was the after effect of yet another incident, what happened was not right. This was one big black mark in the books of our history, and the way it was handled is in itself another huge story to say. I have a lot to add to this matter, but now when we were discussing something else, I do not want to bring it out this is what I am being told and not what I have found out. I have done a lot of research on this and have a lot more to add to this, but will do it when I reach that place where I will be able to make all the positive connections to show the people of our country how we were made fools of. This has been the biggest problem in our country, where facts and truths are hidden from us. The best that ever came out through the media was only 3% of what happened. And this is one big flaw in our system. I have strong points to back my research up with, and I am sure that the people will understand. Or rather, I would say that the people are wise enough to make judgments for themselves. I will just present my work in front of the people and leave the rest up to the people to decide what they want to conclude. For me, it is very important to place the facts as they are. Then it is up to the people to decide the course of the action. Yes, I am going to come out on the public domain and keep all the matters in front of the people. And also, we will need support in the activities that we are going to undertake. But yes, it is your choice. If you feel this is your fight, you are welcome to join hands with us. Use your brains, use your intellect. There is no force. We will go on our path. Do anything once you have studied around it. Don't follow it for the sake of it blindly. Don't believe anyone blindly. Don't go soft on issues which you feel you need to react to. For me, it is very important that the people who join hands with us are on the same page, have the same goal, are all like minded, and have nothing to fear about, are open, can voice out their opinions, can let us know where we are going wrong. They should have that confidence to point out mistakes and stick to it. I want people to follow themselves, not anyone else. The people should be independent. The people should be smart. They should be fearless. When they decide on something, it is not wrong to have fear in you. But the people who are going to be a part of our team should have it in them to work on their fear and turn their fears into their strengths. This is what is much, much needed. Because the moment we come out in the open with our works, there will be orchestrated chaos everywhere. There will be a lot of dummies planted who try and show us in bad shape. There will be a lot of loose talks that will come into the picture. There will be a lot of paid critics who will criticize you to the core. If you have to get over all this, you need to believe in yourself. You should have a strong willpower. You should not blindly follow what is happening. Use your intellect, use your gut instinct, trust yourself, be strong, be smart, understand the strategies that are used against you, understand the mind games against you, understand that a lot of things will be done to pull you down. Never give up, voice out, hit out on the people trying to pull you down. Keep yourself open, have an open mind. Be ready for the worst, prepare for the worst, but yes, hope for the best. And continue doing all the good you can do. Because it's only a fact that when nothing goes your way, you should not lose hope. Because if you lose hope, then everything is over. The reportings around the Babri Masjid first, and then the violence that happened in Godhra followed the same pattern as it always does. The media made gold out of it, and the innocent public of the country fell for it, as it was orchestrated so beautifully that whatever was shown to them was shown with so much color that the color did the trick, and the truth stood hidden. The person said Mahajanji had gone into so much depth that he had discussed out that we will only target the people responsible for this and try and see that the name of our party doesn't spoil. He was very, very sure that the top names in the party had a great role to play with what happened in Godhra and already had signed under the table deals to ensure that not much mud fell on them. We will also make sure that we will not only get these names out in the public, but we will go with some other strategies along with it. We will not approach television channels much. We will rather focus on handbills and newspapers. I will talk it out with some people here whom I know and get the matter out on the local dailies, said Mahajanji that day. We all have to be together in this and also ensure that we have all the grounds covered to ensure that there is no one who can get into us and spoil the entire show. We need to be very, very careful, said Mahajanji. Things were very much on track. But then what happened was what Mahajanji was well prepared for. Shivani Bhatnagar, the journalist who was working for Indian Express and whose murder had happened back then, which came on Mahajanji. Mahajanji, when this news came to him, just said, Sabash, bas yehi baki tha. Great. Now this is how it is. Roughly translated to the best of my knowledge. The person said the first thing Mahajanji did was he tried to understand what exactly was the scene and what is it that he is being named for. The things then unfolded that because Mahajanji was in touch with this Shivani Bhatnagar for some time now, and he was actually trying to support her with the kind of mental torture she was going through because of IPS Ravikant Sharma and his close associate Pradeep Sharma. Mahajanji believed that someone from his circle itself set this up. The actual incident that happened was IPS Sharma was in a relationship with Shivani Bhatnagar, and Shivani had asked him to marry her, but Sharma was not interested. So Shivani had told Sharma that she will expose him to the public and book him in the court too, with the legal documents that she had under her possession. Now, the most important thing that needs to be noted out here is that the relation that Bhatnagar shared with Sharma was never a secret. Everyone knew about it, especially Madhu, the wife of Sharma. Shivani Bhatnagar was one of the journalists back then in those days who had no fear whatsoever to report what she was doing, and she was fairly good in her job and did a great job indeed. Bhatnagar was in touch with some top ranked people in the country and was always in their good books. But when the news came out, it happened such that Madhu Sharma walked out to the press, telling that it was not her husband but Mahajan who was the father of the child, and had challenged Mahajanji to undergo a DNA test. Mahajanji readily agreed, and this is when the entire plan fell flat. As when Mahajanji agreed for the same, the woman burst out, and the police found out that it was nothing but an emotional outburst, and there was no truth factor in it. Here in this case, too, we will find a lot of similarities to that of Jia Khan's case. Tampered phone records, no proper investigations. The police did a sloppy investigation, and it almost took 3 years for them to arrest Sharma till he himself surrendered. The people who were arrested along with Sharma, most of them were let out due to lack of evidences. The reason I took the name of Jia Khan here, because according to me, to the best of my knowledge, if I have to point out on one individual whose death investigations too suffered because of similar sloppy investigations, then it is Jia Khan's death. The same thing that I discussed here happened there as well. Apart from some text message, no detail was procured, and the phone records were tampered. This is what happens when people who have money are at the helm of things. And this is how the society suffers. Just because some wrong people and some people with no honest intentions get together and try and milk the society out of, and try and milk the society out. I am often confused and surprised that despite the pattern almost being the same, why is it that our forces are still continuing to function the way they are? It's clear by the pattern of these crimes that the first thing most of the criminals do is get in touch with the operator and try and fiddle with the call records. If the people in uniform are really true to their jobs, then the first thing they should do is try and get to this information first. I am not someone who has investigated cases or otherwise, but then while preparing for my character, Bakshi, I did try and learn some basics around this. And it is very much important for a successful investigator to get the minutest details of things and go as deep as possible. The next line which the person told shook me, and I was forced to believe that most of things this person told was true. And yes, we have to go deeper. By saying this here, let me make some points clear before even I get to the exact narration made. These are the conclusions I drew upon, and this is my belief. This doesn't mean I have evidences for the same, but the one thing I will assure myself is that I will put every effort under the sun to get to those evidences, if any of them continue to exist, even to this date. One other thing that these people follow is, in order to ensure that they have the control of the system, what these people do is they destroy all publicly available copies of the incident, but have one copy of it hidden somewhere under their closet. And this is what we have to lay our hands on. This is a little difficult task to undertake, but not an impossible one. All that it needs to be done is we have to give this issue a start in such a way that right nerves are touched, and then sit back and observe the reactions. That's when we can corner on where to start and what are the steps we need to take. Now, getting back to the person's words. The person said, Mahajanji continued, I very well know where all this is coming from, and why is it that this dirt was directed towards me. When Advani ji had planned for the Ram Rath Yatra, I was one of the first people to be approached. And now, when I have decided to get to the roots of it and find out what exactly happened, these people are well aware that I was there since the beginning. And it would not be much of a task for me to get to the bottom of it and try and find out what was the exact thing that happened. Though not told to directly, certain frowns and some cold stares did give me a hint that some controversy was being cooked against me, and I have to be ready for it. But the one thing I think these people forgot was that I have never done something that my soul would question back on me. And the some things which I did for, which I am getting the guilt feeling in my gut, I am already making amends to it. Mahajanji then said that now things stood clear in front of him on what the coded language was that was used during the yatra and what were the plans that were made. Mahajanji concluded that all it would need is some people to come out in the open, then a PIL has to be filed, and then it is simple. Get these people out there and ask them questions on their face. What had happened, and back them with these narrations. There are various ways in which a foundation can be laid, and let's all work towards it to get the task done, said Mahajanji. Things were not the same for Mahajanji anymore. There was one such incident which happened some years back, which my father told me, which my father told me about. And it is very important that I tell this to you too, sir, said the person. I told, go ahead. What is it? The person then said, the honesty of Mahajanji can be found out with one incident, wherein it was proved that he was honest and never feared to speak out the truth. I have purposely used the word father here just to ensure that the identity of this person doesn't get exposed till we are all set for the exposure. This is just characterization that I have used. For me, the truth coming out is important, but what is equally important is the safety of the people speaking the truth. The person continued. The year was 1998. Pramod Mahajanji had filed for Rajya Sabha elections and had shown his profession as advisor to Prime Minister. This is an office of profit, and Pramod Mahajanji's application could be rejected. When Sharad Pawar, who was under immense pressure, as his only hope back then was Mahajanji, and if Mahajanji's application was rejected, then his arch rival Suresh Kalmadi would have been elected. When Power confronted Mahajanji with this, the answer Mahajanji gave was, I do not need to fear for anything, and this was my last job. I have resigned from it, and politics for me is my mission, not my profession. I have kept telling this and continue to believe this even to date. So, Sharadji, please focus on yourself. I have my things sorted, and I too am swimming in the same tide as you are. This is an incident here. This incident here is a classic example and also can be a great hint towards Mahajanji's case. I will come back to it later, but here this is what we have been missing. There were indicators, there were pointers, but we were so busy in watching the film that was shown to us in Eastman color that we forgot to read the credits that followed. Anyways, now that I am confident we are on the right track, I shall soon get to the root of some major happenings in our country and also shall ensure that I present before you some pictures of the dirty reality which was kept hidden from a lot of people for long, long time. The person continued, Mahajanji categorically told everyone that now I have taken these people on the following things or are bound to happen. I will be isolated from my people. I will be targeted. I will be cornered. They will try to make inroads into my communication patterns. They will keep track of my daily activities. There will be a lot of allegations on me. New cases will come up against me. They will try and break my family down. They will target all those people who they think and feel I can bank on. They will also ensure that my resources are dry. Dirty mind games will be played. Some narrations will come out telling Mahajan told this, Mahajan did that, which I never might have even thought of. False narratives will be spread. Above all, they will ensure that they will have me cornered from all four sides, yet leave me breathing. They will make every attempt to ensure that I will be left optionless. We will have to tighten our shoelaces as the run is very, very big and we have to emerge victorious. Mahajanji further added that do not trust anything that is told about me without asking me. I am here to answer all your questions round the clock. And you can call me anytime you feel you want to talk to me. And also, the main thing that I request each one of you is that stay true to yourself. This is going to be big and deep. We all have to hold each other's hands if we wish to see any kind of success. Anything is possible, but then if you win, you will have the last laugh. If you lose, it is still worth the try. As the great Manoj Pandey said, some goals are so worthy that you make a name for yourself even if you lose. Rather, it's worth to die for. Mahajanji for sure knew that his very own people will target him, and he has to be better prepared to face the backlash, as this is what is in store for him. And he has to be well prepared to face hell if need be. Mahajanji made one point very clear to us. Neither is he going to quit, and if we have any intentions to quit, he told us to leave him then itself. As once this journey starts, there is no looking back. He also told us that I will warn you upfront. You might be picked upon in the public. There is no guarantee that your will remains sane. There is no guarantee that you will remain sane. Pressure will come from all sides families, friends, society. Your social image will also go for a toss. But this is only till the time we have them cornered. So if you have it in you to stand against the lot, you will be successful. Most of them, including myself, had our eyes filled when Mahajanji told us this, said the person. And the person started sobbing instantly while telling this. We tried to console the person and promised him that we will ensure that what Mahajanji could not finish, we will finish it. And we all are together in this. And we will need his support in order to make sure that the people who have been wronged and make sure that the people who had wronged will learn their lesson and they will learn it the hard way. This we all should ensure we will make it happen. The person seemed satisfied. The person then continued, Sir, the next thing that I'm going to now tell you will probably open one of the most dirtiest pages in the history of Indian business. And this is the story of the rise of Ambanis, how Ambanis rose, and what were the games that were played in order to stay in power. Taking a break from the person's words, most of the incidents and connections around Ambanis I have explained in the earlier slides. But some points which were missing out there I will discuss it out here. The person spoke about the Nasli Wadia incident. The person also told us about how Ambanis played with the stock market. He also told us about the connections to the investments that the Ambanis had procured over the years. The first 2 points are discussed already. The third point is what is going to make the difference in the entire scenario. The person continued. Polyester was one of the main trades that amused Ambanis because back then, whenever you wanted to procure a lot of polyester, you need not have to pay any money upfront. You would get enough goods for a little payment and a small word from the bank how Harshad Mehta played with the banks is well known to all. The same technique was used by Ambani. The biggest difference here is that Mehta was upfront and had rivals everywhere. But the shrewd businessman Ambani was he ensured that he did the following. Mahajanji told us that this was fact because under the Ambani banner, income tax got 0.5% of the share. Revenue Department got 0.3% of the share. Other government offices got around 1.5% of the share. Customs got 1.2% of the share. Investors got 3% of the share. Lower government officials got 0.2% of the share. Ruling party got 2.8% of the share. Non-ruling parties got 1.5% of the share. Local parties and other leaders got 2% of the share. Underworld, Gundas and Bhais, said the person, got 3% of the share. This share was not for one person, but for a team of people. The respective department, whichever it was, the entire money was given to one person in the department, and he used to do the distribution. Mahajanji further told us that this arrangement was made to ensure that no dirt fell on the Ambanis, and the middlemen who felicitated all this would get 0.5% of the share for the money he is carrying. I was confused a little here, but before I could open my mouth, the person said, I am not done yet, sir. I just smiled. And the person continued, the biggest thing that we all need to note here, said Mahajanji, that day was the pattern in which the Ambanis operate. They never make direct payments to anyone. What they do is they have a very strong Gujarati network called Angadiyas. The money is given to one such person. The person gives a note, serial number, and one code. The destination where the money should reach would then be decided. The commission to this person would be paid and the details would be shared. Then one person from the respective department, wherever the payment has to be made, would collect the money and distribute it within the office. The Ambanis made sure that they operated in two ways. The higher management, Ambani family, were close to the top ranked officials and used to meet them socially. No foul play. The lower management, top management officials like Kirti Ambani and Anand. These, these people used to go do the negotiations. Settlements of this money never happened in government offices. The pattern that was followed for settlement was dependent on two factors. One, how huge was the amount? Two, what are the possible ways in which the amount can be mishandled? In most case scenarios, hotel rooms would be booked on the names of strangers and the money transactions used to happen there in most of such deals used to happen in such hotel rooms. The pattern that was followed here to book these rooms were as follows. The details that were used when such rooms were booked generally belong to dead. This includes address proof and mobile number. The rooms were booked for weeks together and one or two people would check in. The direct party would come only on the day of the main meeting, but then The rooms that were used for such purposes would continue for a few more days. One spot was selected, just for once only. There was no second time visit to the place again. The people who were to be involved in the meetings would not know when the actual meeting is. And after thorough screening, did the original meeting happen? The code words that were used for such meetings were मैं CD लेके आऊंगा. I will bring the CD. This means I will get the cash directly. Settlement इधर कर लो, स्थिरता में होगी बात. Settle it out here, talks will happen in stability. Not sure if I have used the right word for here while translating. What this meant was go ahead with the settlement here and you will get your payment in the form of land or immovable asset registered on your name. आज सेटलमेंट कर लो, आम खाने कल आज सेटलमेंट कर लो, आम खाने मिलेगा बहुत जल्द. Finish the settlement today, you will get to eat the mangoes soon. This meant that finish the settlement today, payment will happen on the first of the month. These type of words were used for officer class of people, said the person. खाना अभी पका नहीं है तो बारात को थोड़ी देर बाद बुलाओ. The food is not ready yet. Call the guests later. This meant that the checks are yet to happen, so call the main party a little later. बकरे को हलाल करना है कि मुर्गी की बिरयानी बनानी है. Do we prepare mutton with halal or do we prepare chicken biryani? This meant that what is it that amuses the main party? Gambling or prostitution? बारिश बहुत है, छाता लेके आओ. It's raining heavily, come with an umbrella. Watch out when you are coming to the place. There are some people here who can create trouble for us. Come with cover and ensure that you are not followed. इरादा तो पक्का है पर खुजली बहुत हो रही है. The intention sounds strong, but I am having itching sensation. The payment has been made in gold, so we need to verify the quality of gold even before we give any further update or comment. लड़के की अम्मा बहुत तुतुर पुतुर कर रही है. The boy's mother is talking a lot of bullshit. This means that the main party who was supposed to come for the meeting has not come and he has sent his representative. How do we proceed? Do we still go ahead with the settlement or we call it off for now? Kindly advise what is the next step or the next course of action we need to take. उंगलियों में गिनती है. We can count it on fingers. There is no virtue in the deal. No point in wasting time here. इमारत बुलंद है पर बड़ी नहीं है. The building is strong but not big. The deal is going to go for a long time. It is a deep one. So this is some kind of an investment that we have to rotate. This was generally used in share market when they had to hike the rate of a share just to ensure that they can create that false demand and then execute the plan, like what Harshad Mehta used to do. आज पान खाने का बहुत मन कर रहा है. I am getting the urge to eat betel leaf. The meeting is yet to be confirmed, and whatever the scenario is, the meeting is going to happen after dinner or lunch. I will confirm on the time. चिट्ठी लिख के भेजी है, क्या करूं? चिट्ठी की जवाब कब दूं? He has written a letter to us. How do I respond? The payment is made in white or in the form of a check. What do we do? How do we proceed? घोड़े की टांग में चोट लगी है. The horse has wounded its leg. The deal is dummy. There is no need to even look at it. आज के दिन बात करते हैं, मुलाकात अगले हफ्ते होगी. Let's just talk out today. Meeting will happen next week. The main party has asked 1 week time to finalize on the deal. So, do you want to meet the main party now or we will do it next week? Apart from this, said the person, hand movements and the color of clothing too played a major role, Mahajanji told us. Before the meeting started, if the man kept his head down, this would mean the man has unconditionally surrendered and is ready to do the deal in the way the party wants it to be done. Goggles. If the party removes his goggles, cleans it, and wears it again, this means that there are some factors in the deal which he is not happy with, and those points have to be changed. And the same he shall communicate soon. If the party removes his goggles, cleans it, and keeps it in his pocket, it means the deal is fine. Some changes are to be made. He will send the changes, and if the other party agrees, the deal can still go through. If the party removes his goggles and just keeps it on the table, he is not happy with the deal. There is no further talk. I was a little confused and asked the person to explain again. The person said, if they were to talk in code language without meeting each other, but go to common place, be in front of each other, and communicate in a language which only the person who wants to get the deal done and the person who is paying for the deal knows. Then these were the mannerisms that they used to follow. This was one kind of check that was done before some deals to understand what the mindset of the party was before the main party was called. Because the person said, Mahajan clearly told us the main party would not wait for long. The main person who was the decision maker would be there max for 5 to 10 minutes, not more than that. So these kind of checks were done just to give the main party an idea what exactly was in store and how should they proceed with the timing of the meeting. The person further continued, before I get to the style of dressing and the codes behind them, guys, said Mahajanji, remember, if you want to just get an idea what exactly is the thing happening or is this happening around you, then what you should always be on the lookout for is time. Look around yourself. Is someone constantly looking at his watch? Then try and see if there is another person in the same room who is looking at his watch too. If you see this, then it is simple. You need to keep an eye on these two people, as these two people are going to soon communicate in between themselves with the language that I just explained to you people. Hat. If you see someone wearing a hat inside a room, then keep a watch on the hat. And if the person is keeping his hat down quickly, run your eyes inside the entire room and see who is nodding his head while the hat is being kept down and keeps nodding the head till the hat is placed back on the head. Most of the times, said Mahajanji, there are only two possibilities. The person is either diagonally opposite to the person who has placed his hat down, or the person is sitting right opposite to the person who is keeping his hat down. These people sit alone and keep a watch on each other, keep a watch on these people. To be fully confirmed, if both belong to the same group, the one test you can actually do is see what time do both of them leave. As soon as the first person leaves, the next person will leave exactly in 5 minutes. If this is the pattern, then yes, both are from the same group. If not, it can just be coincidence too. To be double sure whether it is coincidence or not, the next step, what you can check here is that bill. If the first person calls out for the bill and leaves, the second person whom you have a doubt on will call the bill once the first person has made the payment and makes an action to the waiter to come and collect the bill. Washroom. If the first person calls for the bill at the same time, as soon as the bill is called, the second person goes to the washroom. Under 15 seconds of this, the first person who had called for the bill keeps a close keep a close keep a close watch on him. you will see that his phone will ring and he will take the phone in his hand and leave the room, but not receive the call. Once the person has left the room, the second person who was in the washroom will directly go to the billing counter, make the payment, and leave. This can get you confirmed that both of them were present there for the same work near the lift. This is a clear cut indication that the two are together. First person goes on the lift and imagine he has gone to floor number 4. The second person, if he has followed the first person, will not press the button to call the lift till the lift has stopped. Finally, and there is another movement. He will not press the lift button till the lift moves again. I was confused and asked him, "What are you trying to say?" The person said, "Give me two names." I said, "Asif and Sandeep." The person said, "Asif has left in the lift, and the lift display is showing numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and the lift stops on number 4. Once, if the lift moves on to the next floor and then Sandeep presses the button to call the lift, then this means that Asif and Sandeep are together. And the communication that happened for the others to know was that the time of the meeting is going to be based on the discussion they prior had. I asked the person the time of the meeting is going to be based on the discussion they prior had. The person told me, "Please have patience, sir. But since you have asked me this, let me tell you what Mahajanji told me. The code is like this. Suppose the floors are 5 and 6. Then the time of the meeting is 5 plus 6 is equal to 11. And the meeting will happen on the 6th floor. This generally happens when the meeting had to be decided suddenly. And this has no time, and there was no time to plan the meeting. Well, most of the times during such meeting, the main parties do not come, but their trusted people, right hand men, come for the meeting," said the person. Some controversies that these people have also happened through the feedback book, that is at the reception, and also through the entry register at times too, said the person. And there is a way in which this can be guessed too, said Mahajanji, because this is only known to people who are at the top management of the cabal. This has been one way in which these people negotiate. Remember these words: Maska, Chal, Mal, Topi, Raja, Rani, Gulam, Badshah, Begum, Minister, Watchman, Coach, Guruji, Chela, Sweet, Chas, Namak, Pani, Handkerchief, Supari, Meetha. Have a look at the register. If you see, for example, Asif has booked room number 101 and has mentioned all his details in capital letters, and Sandeep has booked the room number 202 and also filled in his details in capital letters. All you have to do is go to both these rooms, take something with you, water bottle, wine, whiskey, etc., 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 and use one of these words. And if the person accepts it, that will make you understand that both are together, said Mahajanji. Person accepts it? I asked. Arey Sahib, what you have to do is go to room number 101 and say that room number 202 sent this to you, and then say one of these words. The person will give you back another word and then close the door behind you. But sometimes you need to be careful, because what is the word that has to be used? You will find it in the entry register itself. And you need to be following this for some time in order to understand what the code is. Mahajanji told us. The code is in the address, the letter that is written, a little smaller to the other letters, written in capital, holds the key as to what the code would be. And this is how you have to make sure you get to know what the code is. Since this is a thing since this is a thing that only these people know and has not come out till now. This is continuing even till date and going on smoothly. Taking a break from the man's words, I was spellbound. When I heard all this, how well these people operate, and how well do these guys plan things out, and how do they execute their plans to perfection is worth a study. So I will end this here. Thank you, Preeti ji. Thank you so much. I hope I was clear today. Dhruva ji, are you here? Are you backstage? So we will again soon meet for the next session. So you people can understand that what sort of pressure might be coming on me and I mean our team, because I mean such sensational exposures are coming in Sushant's drives. So maybe now the reason behind CBI not giving me the date for validation of drives even after acknowledging my application, maybe that is making sense now. But it's sad, it's pathetic. Now, if we really want justice for Sushant, then we have to get together. There will be many people planted as warriors to create differences, to create diversions. But the purpose is only one, that is justice for Sushant, right? And for that, there is only one route. CBI has to give a statement about Sushant's death. It has to give a reason of that. It can't happen like Jia Khan's case, where even after 9 years, they haven't, officially given a reason of death. So force the agencies. Come on, we are taxpayers. I mean, you are supposed to do your duty. Force them to give a statement. That is the only thing we have to do. Other diversions, just keep it apart. I mean, what family did, what others did, let us not get deviated. I mean, if you really want this movement to gain so much strength that the authorities and the agencies are forced to act, then the only thing all of us have to do is that force, I mean, get together, request, force, whatever. I mean, roar so loud that the CBI can no longer remain silent. It has to give a statement, it has to give an update about what's happening and about the reason of death. So, with this, I will take all of your leave now. We will meet soon again. I will update it. And if you have subscribed to our channel, then you will receive notifications as it is. So, thank you. Good night. And yes, Jai Hind.